The Tower of David Museum takes visitors through 3,600 years of the ancient city's history. Museum Director Eilat Leiber says the age of the infrastructure meant a major upgrade was planned for a decade, and renovations have gone on for 3 years at a cost of $50 million.
We wanted to engage the visitors, especially the young generation, with the story by adding technology, interactive media, and of course the real objects that came back home to the citadel.
Jerusalem has a secret. Else, how we can explain what Jerusalem is? How it became so sacred to so many people the world over.
And while the rule in most museums is please don't touch, this newly renovated version shares a different message: please touch.
We want them to touch, to engage, and be intrigued about what they're doing in the museum.
Curator Tal Kobo says the exhibits now tell a thematic story.
The first gallery is talking about the scope of time, how long, and all the cultures and empires that ruled the city.
There are 12 interactive screens chronicling the history of Jerusalem, and they're meant to be touched. Here we have the British Mandate period from 1917 to 1948. We can see it in English, have a map of the city, see what world events were happening at the time, and the timeline of Jerusalem. Creative director Yoav Cohen says his team took on the challenge of telling these stories in a creative, experiential, and user-friendly way.
We're making movies, we're making interactive, we're making computer games. It is a very thin line between telling the interesting story and to be engagement, and to be precise on the other side and correct with history.
The second, third, and fourth galleries show how Jerusalem became sacred to Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Each consists of a model with its own iconic building, such as the Second Jewish Temple, although it was gone by the end of the 1st century.
Mostly Jewish people did not live in Jerusalem, but the memory of Jerusalem still existed. And those objects that carries the menorah symbolizes the connection to Jerusalem.
This is the room of Christianity. In the center, there's this huge model of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
Museum consultant on Christianity, Yiska Harani, says Jerusalem has been seen through a prism influenced by the Byzantine era of the Roman Empire for nearly 1,700 years.
Byzantine Jerusalem laid the foundations for how people perceive Jerusalem in history. This is why, behind me, there's the beautiful replica made by mosaic of the Madaba map.
Found in a church in Jordan, that is the oldest known map of the Holy Land and Jerusalem.
So this room is also titled Sacred Geography, because what drew the Christians here was to see the sacred geography. Jesus came into a geography.
And the Muslim gallery has a replica of the Dome of the Rock on the Temple Mount.
This is an original mosque that we are actually standing in. Someone asked me the question about touching the exhibition. Well, I think there is no replace to touching the walls.
Part of the renovation included making the ancient fortress more accessible to those physically challenged. That included adding 2 elevators so all visitors could see the 10 galleries. They still, however, couldn't reach the observation deck.
We came with the idea of using VR glasses or another product, 360 degrees footage that we took of the observation in order that everyone would be able to see our beautiful observation.
Leiber calls it the gateway to Jerusalem.
The Tower of David is, of course, a very unique building. The fortress of Jerusalem, the symbol of the city that represents the power, the beauty of Jerusalem for many ages.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, the Tower of David Museum, Jerusalem.